Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before. Mud's Passion. Yeah, we're getting back kind of in Mud's women territory. They're different kind of women. They're lizards. You saw it. Mud's Passion here on It's All Been Trekked Before today. Also, other things to check out. Get literary, start story snacks. Yeah, she's back for she's third season, right? We're still in the third season, and that's it. It's a finale. So get them while you can. You cannot gorge any more than you can now. Check it out. She brings you a short story. Use your page too long for a quick bite of biting fiction. Start story snacks. Also, while you're thinking of snacks, while you're hungry, feed us. Feed us while you're at it. Think about us. It's like you're on a diet. We'll eat it for you. Go to patreon.com/IABD. Throw a couple bucks at us. Throw 10 bucks at us and you get super bonus content. Patreon.com/IABD. Also, while we're talking literary, the quarterly book club. I don't know why I was going to call it the third quarter book club. It's the second quarter of the quarterly book club of this year. And they are doing Looking for Alaska by John Green. Seems like it's easy to find. It's our biggest state, right? But not in the contiguous United States, right? So check that out. Quarterly book club, you know what it is? Books, they take a while to read. So you can read it, then come back and listen to Samantha and the ladies discuss it. It's like your own book club. You show up when you're ready, read that book, and we'll see you there. Speaking of which, now you're going to hear us talk about Mud's Passion on It's All Been Trekked Before.
Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before. Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, even more. This is Steven.
Jimmy-Jerome. We're here to discuss the episode Mud's Passion.
It was fine. It was fun.
It was better than the last episode.
It was, yeah. I kind of like the Mud episodes because and I guess we're talking about Mud's Women, or not Mud's Women, I'm Mud, even more than Mud's Women. The stakes aren't super high usually.
Mud's Women was a terrible episode. I don't know if you remember just how much we hated it. This hewed closer to that than I Mud, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Mud is fun.
He is.
He's a character that, when used correctly, like I Mud, great episode.
Yeah.
When used correctly, very effective. Unfortunately, 2 out of 3 times he has not been. Well, this wasn't as bad.
No.
At least he wasn't prostituting out women this time.
No.
He was just making them fall in love unnecessarily. Though I will say this is the first episode of the animated series where I'm like, oh, obvious sexism. So I think Mud brings that with him as well. Well, McCoy's line about, and little old Lieutenant Uhura.
She's a pretty one, or
pretty little Lieutenant Uhura.
Well, as you know, anytime McCoy gets affected by any kind of thing, he gets sexist. The Southern Doctor, and yeah,
sure. I mean, this episode is super dated because of the lack of homosexuality.
Yeah, I noted that he said no member of the opposite sex will be able to resist you, and as been noted many times on the show. That's universal. It's binary.
But and then he said if you're the same gender, you're just gonna be friends. I'm like, well, what if?
Is that what he said?
Yes.
So
that's why Kirk and Spock were dear friends because hugging around their arms.
Okay.
Whereas,
because I thought for a minute when Kirk was like, maybe you should take your hands off her, that Kirk was like getting jealous.
Mm-hmm. No, that was the hatred.
That's as far as they could go.
After the love comes the hatred.
Oh, okay.
If Marianne were here, she would be very disappointed that Kirk and Spock didn't fall in love. And I agree. I think it should have not been confined by gender.
Oh, absolutely. Or species. Well, it wasn't confined by species because Marissa and Scotty.
Yeah. And Spock and Chapel. Spock's only half human.
That's true. I wrote down it's Naked Time, too, because essentially it gets back to in the Naked Time when they were both affected by the virus or whatever. Yeah. That's when we first get this Chapel Spock thing.
But I feel like it's been under the surface since then, and maybe for the animated series because Majel had a little more pull at this point. She wanted to push it back to the front.
Yeah, and I just meant from the aspect that they come out with these feelings because they're affected by something rather than actually discussing their feelings.
Well, it's a one-sided love interest.
Right.
And it always has been. Always will be.
Yeah.
I did not buy, though, that Chapel was willing to try it. It seemed unprofessional. It seemed unethical. Most professional women I know wouldn't do that. I mean,
would she'd be in trouble, right?
I would hope so.
Because she knowingly...
And she wouldn't want that. She wouldn't want Spock artificially. Seriously. No. Yeah, I just didn't buy that whole premise at all. Although it was very convoluted how they got to it, where Mud, tricked her to open the cell, then got her to crush it immediately instead of waiting until she got near Spock, which didn't make sense, just so he could steal her phaser.
Okay, I was going to say, he pickpocketed her, right?
Yes.
Essentially.
I mean, that was the thing, but that was a very contrived scene. And in a full hour episode, they probably could have done it more intelligently, and time was an issue here, but it just felt like it got off on the wrong foot.
Like, it almost needed they did a little reminder that Chapel's into Spock at the time.
Oh, yeah.
I guess on some of it should have been more of a, I'm really desperate to...
And she shouldn't be desperate.
Yeah.
She's not desperate. That's the weird thing.
She shouldn't be.
That's the weird thing. She's an attractive, intelligent...
She's clearly into chasing unattainable men.
Clearly, but I just don't think she would have gone to those levels.
Roger Corby, Spock.
Yeah, I just didn't buy it, unfortunately. Where was Uhura this episode? She is credited on IMDb.
Oh, really?
Nichelle Nichols is credited as Uhura/female Ursinoid minor. So I guess the creature.
The creature, little...
Yeah, I guess. Unless Laura was the creature. Who's Laura? Because Magel's credited as Laura.
That,
/Maress/Chapel. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But Uhura was missing and Maress was there, but it's not like Maress had hardly any lines, just those couple.
Yeah.
And Scotty and Uhura would have made more sense because later we see some type of, not necessarily totally romantic, but something between them in the films. So, I don't know.
I do like the idea of the cross-species things.
Well, I think Eric's and Sulu up at the helm should have...
Well, that makes sense.
Been all into it. Into each other, and they weren't.
We at least got to see Eric do one interesting thing for once, playing the lute or guitar or whatever he's playing with the three hands. And why was McCoy on the bridge at one point?
He had a station.
Yeah.
I think it was Spock's station.
Yeah.
Based on placement.
Is he like the fourth...
He's never had a bridge on the station.
Yeah.
Or a station on the bridge.
I didn't understand that.
Not that drunk. I shouldn't be reversing words. I'm not even drunk.
Just to go back to Eric's for a second, I thought he had his best line of the series so far when he whistled about Spock mooning over Chapel. Like, he just...
Yeah.
That's his best line so far. And I didn't know... We don't know if it was Jimmy Doohan doing it.
It had to be.
I found it a little bit entertaining.
Although Eric's isn't credited in this episode at all.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
He had a line, didn't he?
Scott, Human Minor, and Male
Maybe that was it?
I'm not sure if he did, but he probably voiced.
Yeah.
As we had mentioned in the last episode, Roger C. Carmel returned as Harry Mudd. And similar to when we've had guest stars return, it sounded off to me. It didn't sound like him.
Yeah, well,
he didn't seem ready for animation.
And I know we've talked with Keith about this because it seems like all the actors that come on here are more subdued rather than big.
Sure.
And he's such a big character. It seems like you would go the opposite.
I was watching some interview with an an animation voice actor recently, and they were talking about that with an animated character, you go as big as you possibly can. That's part of the point.
Yeah.
But it's clear that a lot of these actors weren't voice actors, and they weren't used to it.
That's
and
true. That makes sense too.
Adapted to the format. It's not like today where lots of mainstream actors go and do a Disney movie or something.
Yeah, and maybe the crafts come a long way, but and I don't know the process for this. I don't know if they just recorded all of these in like one huge
they didn't do all 22 episodes in one session, but I bet they did them in batches. Yeah. And I'm sure they didn't do them together, as we know from all the different pronunciations of things.
Yes, yeah. So, it's just a weird thing, the way it's... And generally speaking, I appreciate understating things when you can understate them, but...
Sure.
There should be no understating of Mudd. Yeah, he should always be a big guy.
I do appreciate... It took him a few minutes to get to it, and I was starting to wonder if they were going to address it. I do appreciate we got some explanation of him getting off the planet. I had mentioned to you before we started this that there was a short track recently between Discovery Seasons 1 and 2 that focused on Harry Mudd 10 years ago, almost 15 years before this episode. And it brought androids into it and hinted that he'd been at that planet before and long before we saw it in I Mudd. So that made sense to me. That helped tie all that together and also would make it much more believable that he'd be able to escape easily because he'd been there and left before. I wish this had been a different type of con job than a love potion. I felt like it was similar to Mudd's Women. It was better than Mudd's Women.
Yeah.
I'll say that. I think this episode was better than Mudd's Women.
I mean, I think we talked about it in Naked Time and probably a couple other episodes that, like, so many TV series do the love potion or whatever thing. Like Smallville, 2 or 3 times a season would do whatever kind of kryptonite they could do to... And I thought
But Star Trek did it first, and now I ripped them off. No.
Yeah, I thought Smallville did it really well back then because they always did it to advance relationships.
Sure.
And even though I didn't like the idea of, well, they were under this and yada yada, but it always advanced several of the relationships in the show and moved it along. So I always appreciate that. But so many series have done those kind of things, which is fine. But it's funny how often Love Potion or something along those lines is still...
It's a done-to-death plot.
Yeah, whether it's a witch casts a spell or whatever.
Maybe it wasn't done to death in the early 70s, but my feeling is it probably
feels like,
was.
Yeah. I think it was.
The music has... I meant to mention this last episode and didn't. The music has been especially obnoxious lately.
Oh, yeah, that last episode had... Keith would have loved the singer.
This one kind of repeated it as well, and it's not just a regular singer; it's a da 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 da.
Yeah.
It's like you have to add.
And it just shows that long shot of the Enterprise moving slowly past the planet. Yes.
Oh, the music's not good. I mean, it was cheesy in the original series, but it's worse in the animated.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the animation continues to have issues. Kirk suddenly turning into a red shirt for one shot. I don't understand.
I don't understand how that... I don't understand
I don't know
animation,
how that happened.
But
I mean,
it still doesn't make sense.
I was thinking about what we talked about last week with Sulu appearing on the bridge next to Eric's. And that shot, the seatbelts looked weird, like they'd been added in later. So I'm thinking they just used a shot from another episode where Sulu was there, and then they just threw the seatbelts in on top of it.
That makes sense.
Because there was this very similar shot in this episode without the seatbelts. So I was like, oh, it's the same shot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm getting tired of the reused shots. I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going away anytime soon. We're going to get to Deep Space Nine, and they use the same establishing space shots over and over.
Oh, yeah.
Because...
it makes sense.
Because budget. I mean, it wasn't until Voyager when they started using CGI that it was easy to not repeat themselves so much. But Next Gen, and DS9 even more, because DS9 was in one spot, reused shots a lot. Similar to the animated series.
Yeah.
But,
oh, yeah. I missed this comment we mentioned earlier, but when Mud said it'll make a member of the opposite sex unable to resist you, no member of the opposite. I noted that's the opposite of Axe body spray, which I don't know. Maybe that's not true. Colleen, can you speak to that? We're gonna bring in special guest Colleen,
who's not in this episode.
So
Axe body spray.
Yeah. So Mud said his potion would make a member of the opposite sex unable to resist you. I said Axe body spray has the opposite effect. Would you agree or disagree or?
As used by pubescent boys, yes, I would agree.
Okay. All right.
I was just looking at this picture of the lute you mentioned that Eric's was playing, or whatever it is. And it occurs to me, because he has 3 hands, it would be easier to play a multi-string instrument. And it looks like it has more strings than a human would play. I like that. That's interesting. At least they thought about the instrument and adapted it to him.
I like that either he has that under the console the whole time, or he went to his quarters, grabbed it, and came back.
Oh, he went to his quarters. Yeah, okay. You know, it was like, hey, guys, I got a great idea. Do you guys remember John Mayer? Just hang on 1 second.
You're going to love this. You're going to love
it.
The planet was called Motherlode?
Yes. It was a mining planet.
It's a little
outside of Federation jurisdiction, so Kirk was outside of his lane. Although I actually liked that bit where they basically tricked him into surrendering to them. Yeah. Or blackmailed him into surrendering.
Yeah, and I liked the miners were several different species. I did like that.
A couple different ones, anyway.
Then there was that confusing action sequence. Was the crowd revolting against him? He ran to... And Spock essentially created a moat with a face.
Yeah, but moat with like giant piled high rock on both sides. That made no sense.
That's a heavy duty phaser.
And that's not the way it was shown cutting.
No, it was just weird. More shuttles this episode. We saw 6. Last episode I know we talked about 4, but maybe it was 6.
That wasn't our standard, which I liked.
Yeah. I always, as I said on the original series, I loved the shuttlecrafts.
What'd you think of the rock creatures?
I liked the first one. We knew it was coming. It was obvious.
It was very obvious. Which wasn't bad, but yeah it was.
But I liked them, and then
the fact that the camera just stayed out, where they're like, "There's nothing here," you're like, "Okay, yeah."
And I thought it would have been a more interesting choice if Kirk threw the potion or whatever, the crystals, and then that makes sense. The other creature, because I was thinking if Kirk touched it, the creature would have been in love with him, but they would have been the other way around. Kirk would have fell in love with the rock creature.
Yeah, well, Kirk didn't smash it up. It was still there. There were more than 2 of them.
Yeah.
So
that was a heck of a throw,
it
too.
In his mouth. Then I thought whatever he touches next.
Right.
But we don't know if it was female or male.
That's true, too. That could have been.
And we don't know if it needed a bigger dose because it was a big creature.
Yeah, but that was a heck of a throw for him to land all those little pieces.
What bothered me, besides the fact that he threw more than 2 in there, was that the 2 rock creatures looked like they were different species of thing, but they were made out of the same thing. It's they looked constructed the same, but with different features.
Yeah.
It's almost like if Godzilla and Mothra, I haven't seen these movies, but I'm aware of these creatures. If like Mothra was also made out of Godzilla skin, but was a totally different looking thing, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Can you name 2 animals on Earth that look like they're made out of the same thing but are different looking? Doesn't occur to me.
Yeah, I couldn't decide if they were supposed to be the same thing or not.
I don't think so, because their heads were shaped completely differently.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is something I've never thought about until tonight. Why can't... So they're trying to get off the planet, and no one will respond in the transporter room because they're all dancing because they're in love. Mm-hmm. Why isn't there some kind of remote transporter control? Like, you can change the temperature at your house remotely, right?
Yes.
Why? I know that's less complicated than transporter.
Yes, but you're right.
But it seems like at some point, as often as this situation comes up where it's like, hey, we can't get through to them to beam up. Oh, we can just transport ourselves.
And they've already been transporting humans for at least, 75 years or so at this point.
Right. And
so...
I mean, even if the idea was, some other creature got it and it's going to beam up, if it's a dangerous creature and it beams up to the Enterprise, still you're going to have 400-some people there to handle it. Mm-hmm. It seems like that's something that should have happened.
Yeah.
I liked when Spock said that he called something an outstandingly stupid idea. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, that's the drugs talking. I just thought he was making that up as an excuse. I don't think it was the drugs talking. I think he was just like, that's really stupid. But he took it as an excuse to insult the idea.
Did you like fashion?
Fashion.
What do you think of Mudd's outfit?
Always garish, but always
It was
intriguing.
in line with what we've seen from Mudd before. Yeah. It was similar to his outfit in I'm Mudd, but different colors. Mm-hmm. I preferred the I Mudd outfit to the Mudd's Women outfit.
Yeah.
But I didn't like the white.
It wasn't great, especially for color-wise, I should say.
I mean, it was a similar cut.
But, yeah.
A little bit less ornate.
Yeah.
Than the I Mudd episode. But
did he have his earring?
I don't think so.
I didn't look closely, yeah.
I don't think so. You can't show a man wearing an earring to Saturday morning cartoon children.
You're right.
I wish he would have retained the cowboy hat from Mudd's Women. Though.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
And any other fashion? What'd you think of the woman that that was actually a lizard?
Oh, yeah. I appreciated her look.
Well, she was blonde, so I figured.
Yeah.
And Kirk putting on the red shirt briefly. That was interesting. Sorry. We don't need to talk about that.
Yeah, it's... Again, I don't know much about animation, but that seems weird that kind of stuff happens so much in this.
Yeah, the frock the woman lizard was wearing.
Yeah, not bad.
A nice neck jewelry. Necklace. I like her necklace.
Looks very much
her dress is simple.
Looks very much like Thalia from the Lorelei Signal.
Yeah, I think they repeat things a lot. I like the mining outfits. They made
those
sense.
were cool.
They were utilitarian.
I liked the miners. They were one of my favorite parts.
Well, yeah, like you said, there were multiple species, which was cool.
Look a little like Planet of the Apes people.
Yes.
Like Dr. Zaius.
Yes. Some of them did. Then there's the one with the weird face. Droopy face.
Oh,
almost.
Yeah, well, different.
Yeah, there's some different.
Kirk said they were honest miners, so you can see that from...
You can see it from their faces. They were real easy to tick off, though. They were on short faces. Man. So, what do you think of Mudd doing the fake ID with Chapel?
I thought that was weird. Why didn't he just change the name, too?
Well, I mean, obviously he did it to steal the shuttle, so that makes sense. Yeah. But it was just an odd thing. And I really, obviously they didn't get a chance to do a follow-up episode, but it would have been really great if we did a follow-up episode where he's been using the alias Christine Chapel.
And so his thought was he took her as a hostage so they wouldn't blow up his ship.
Sure.
Why didn't he, I guess that makes sense. I was thinking, but he was going to take the shuttle to another planet, right?
No, he made it to that planet and was like, there's always somebody to sell to.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
You're like, well, it's lucky there happened to be a Class M planet there. Yeah. Which there was because they were just passing by and they're like, we should investigate that, which was very convenient. Mm-hmm. But he didn't think that, the shuttle takes some time to get down to the surface.
Right.
They'd beam down and wait for him, already ready for him.
Yeah, you're right.
So why not just break it to the transporter instead?
Yeah, because I feel like Mudd would know how to operate a transporter.
Yes. There was also a line he had where he was like, I bought this thing. Yeah. And I'm like, that's the crook that's like, I borrowed this. And you're like, no, I don't buy it. It's ridiculous.
Was it Spock at the end who said a few hours of love paid for with several hours of hatred?
A few minutes of love, I think. Right?
Is that okay?
Yeah, there's a lot more hatred time than love time.
So it's essentially
like most marriages.
That's where I was going. I was going to say it's an old Henny Youngman joke. Yeah, it's an old. Yep, few minutes of love, several years. Yeah, yep.
I've been happily married for 2 years, but you've been married 10 years.
There
like
you
I
go.
said, I've been happily married for 2.
There you go.
What other notes you got?
That's all my notes.
Well, men, women of Star Trek.
Oh, the I'm gonna call her Yeoman because I don't know what her title. That was hanging out with McCoy.
McCoy's squeeze.
That sounds good.
I liked her as well.
Yeah, I don't think she got a line, did she?
No.
Yeah.
I did
because they
not
would have had to
like.
get somebody.
I did not like. And
liked her haircut.
yeah, I don't know. Your choices are basically her or the lizard woman.
Yeah.
I liked her, but she didn't speak.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm going to go the lizard woman because at least she got to talk. And I like my women to talk. Ranking the episode. I think we start above Once Upon a Planet.
Yeah.
Let's go with our sequels again. More Trouble, More Troubles. Above or below that?
I know this is just always anything with tribbles. I feel like I like more, but
That episode to me was frustrating.
Yeah.
But this one I liked, but there was, other than the sexism.
yeah.
But there was that glaring thing where getting the plot rolling took characters acting out of character. That will knock this down for me.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with going below Tribbles.
Yeah, I think I'd say below that, above
Magics of Megas 2. Yeah, I'd say that's
wasn't
fair.
my favorite, so yeah.
No, let's put it there. We'll put it number 5 on the rankings so far.
My alternative episode was Maress and Scotty action. It was, they got them real close to making out, and then they cut it. But I want to see the uncut Maress Scotty action.
My alternate episode is what I mentioned before, and what everybody went out of this episode was Kirk and Spock falling in love, and not just being friends.
Yep.
Which would have happened if it was made today, because they wouldn't be hung up on the heterosexuality of things.
Yep.
Which, again, that's the biggest downfall for this episode, other than the character acting out character, was... I mean, it's not like homosexuality didn't exist in the 70s.
And it was like they wanted to do that, but they were like, we can't quite, so we're going to...
I don't think they could have done it even in the original show, let alone on a Saturday morning.
No, they had to sneak it in, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, the Kirk Spock arms around was probably the nod that you're getting.
Yeah,
and I'm sure sparked all kinds of slash fiction. Yeah, I was disappointed by that. And I also, it occurs to me right now, why didn't Mudd just make Chapel fall in love with him?
Right.
When he was trying to deal with it. That could have been how he got her to let him out of the cell, and then he somehow got her to pass it on to Spock. That would have been a more interesting, although slightly more contrived situation.
Yeah, and
would have fixed the plot.
To go back to my Smallville analogy of the
that was cut out. No, just kidding.
Oh,
no, this part wasn't. The analogy wasn't.
Yeah, I thought this episode was going to go more of the Spock touches, or Chapel touches Spock, then Spock touches so-and-so, and everybody just spreads around.
Like Smallville.
Yeah, and everybody's emotions get heightened, and you find out things about them. But
the fact that you had to rub it in the skin, it was through touch, and then all of a sudden it became airborne. Although Harry clearly didn't know how it worked anyway, so because he didn't think it worked.
Yeah, but it did work, but not exactly, but kind of, right?
And he knew it would make her lightheaded for a minute, so he could escape.
And then it kind of gave you a hangover and made you angry at the person you initially liked a lot.
Sure. Next week's, I should have pulled that up already. Hang on one second.
What if it's another sequel?
The Territon incident? While on a mapping mission, the Enterprise receives an outdated transmission from the volcanic star Cepheus. A flash of light from the planet passes through the ship and disables all the dilithium crystals. Soon thereafter, the crew begins to shrink. With no cure, it becomes difficult for them to handle the controls.
Yeah.
Honey, we shrunk the crew.
Yep. Of course, we shrunk the kids. Ripped us off.
Of course. That's why they eat an oatmeal cream pie in this episode, right?
That's exactly.
Giant oatmeal cream pie.
Exactly.
While they run from space ants.
That's exactly.
Jimmy Doohan has a lot of voices next week.
Oh boy. That's not good.
I know, right?
No,
it's pretty sad that we're like, we should look at the writer real quick of Mudd's Passion before
Stephen
we move
Kando.
on. And he wrote
the other two.
The other two.
Yeah.
I can't believe the same guy wrote all three. I believe that he wrote Mudd's Women, but Mudd was such a departure and much better. So at least they got the same writer, same actor back. I'd say that goes in their favor. The only 2 episodes of the original series that he wrote. And he did write one other episode of the animated series, The Jihad, which we are not there yet.
In my mind, I think that's a good episode, but maybe I just always like the name.
I'm not sure. It is in season 1, so we will get to it before long because we're most of the way through season 1 now.
Wow.
Well, it's only 16 episodes.
Yeah.
There's only 6 in season 2. It's the season 1 finale.
Okay.
So this was episode 10. That's episode 16. And then 6 episodes for season 2, which we are not taking a season break. We're just going to keep going because there aren't that many episodes and there's no reason to take 6 weeks off when we're getting through them so much quicker. Okay, until then, live long, prosper.
Stay away from
Don't touch
crystals.
people that are acting goofy.
Yeah.
It's All Been Done presents.
Who's got the time?